Now, I know you guys are probably a little concerned with the fact that, why am I making this? Why am I not concentrated on what's most important right now? Yes, I hear your concerns. I understand your feelings. Make no mistake, my kits are done. They just need to be fixed up and tweaked up a bit, decaled and all that stuff, and they will be getting to it. And I, for one, don't think I have winners. I don't claim myself to be the best. I'm just, you know, an average modeler who tried to do the best he can with what he has. And I do things under my terms. So, whether I will win or not this year, I have no idea. It's not up to me. I have some good kits. I hope they like them. I hope they enjoy them. I hope they are impressed with them. I'm not saying that I'm done and that's it, because I have a lot to do. But there is a thought process for me to how I'm going about with this. And I will share this with you during the course of me building the SD Neo Zeong. So I hope you guys are a little patient with me as we struggle along. Now, recently I did an inventory. I posted a photograph on Facebook. For those of you who follow me on Facebook, I posted a photograph of me taking stock of all the paints that I had. I forgot this is a SD kit. Showing off pretty much a shitload of paint that I had collected throughout the years. I had, you know, everything from regular Tamiya paints, the Gunzu Aqueous colors, which is basically their version of the acrylic paints. Then looking at all my lacquer-based paints from Mr. Hobby. And then, of course, I didn't take stock, but I do have a lot of the Alaclad 2 paints. Now, I didn't decide to show that off in the photograph because, you know, clearly metallic is something that I always like to do, but obviously it's not something I want to do all the time. Everybody has their own particulars. But either way, I have them. And I had to go through each and every one of these paints because I know that some of them that I've used, even if I used once, they dried up really fast. Or I didn't realize I finished them and I just closed up the bottle and put them to the side thinking that, oh, it's still good. And I realizing they you know, they're done. So out of all those paints that I showed in the photograph, I think I've only eliminated about a good maybe 2 dozen or so paints. The rest I had to classify, clean up. I had one bottle of pink that for some odd reason it tipped over. It was slightly open. I don't know how it was that open. I must have used it for something, for one kit a long time ago. And it pretty much ruined my cabinet. Well, 4 or 5 bottles of paint were already stuck to it, and I had to clean it up and everything else, and it was a big chore. I had to do that because part of it was for me to clean up portion of the cabinet where I had all the paints, and of course take stock of what I have and get rid of what I don't need. I, for one, don't think I'm going to need any more paint soon. Oh, come on, get out. there is 1 or 2 bottles that I will definitely need to get from my hobby store. But other than that, everything's fine. I think I have enough. I try to use what I got, and whatever kit that comes out. I look at it and I say, oh, I definitely need this amount of paint for this amount of paint for that. The one paints that I have the most that I am actually more interested in is the sand yellow paint, which, quite frankly, I like it. Ever since I used it on my high-grade Justa, I want to use it again. It is an acrylic-based paint, but it goes down nice and smooth. I'll have to see what future kit I may want to get and use it, or maybe what kit I have in stock to work with. Alright, so here is, of course, the SD Sinanju, fully complete, and this little shield thingy that doesn't want to stay put, no matter how many times I finagle with the part. Hopefully it doesn't bother me after I paint it. I'm just doing this so I can show you what it looks like, and this is actually my first ever Sinanju SD kit. I've always wanted to buy one, but for some odd reason I just never got myself, never said to myself, I should get this or not. But now that I have it, because it comes with this kit, I can appreciate how it looks. I did this also so I can look at all the parts that it looks like it needs to be repainted. I mean, not painted, sand down, cleaned up, removed marks, whatever. The one thing about SD kits, you don't see that much of nub marks, but you still need to clean it up a bit. Not to mention the fact that a lot of parts needs to be assembled and glued so that way it shows off smooth detail. One area, for example, is the arm here, and fuel tanks is another one. These needs to be glued up. The portion of the backpack here. I'm glad I don't have to see that on these because this was all one parts, but that's pretty good. Now the one thing that I'm kind of shooting myself in the foot right now is the fact that I said that I was going to paint this, and I'm kind of like a little bit nervous here because now I have to spend my time not using these because now I got to do this. I got to paint all the detail of the chest, the forearm, bottom part of the chest, and then the leg, not to mention the shield. And this reminds me of the nightmare that I had painting the shield off my master grade Sazabi, where I had to do the panel wash. Not what panel wash, the reverse wash. I was able to do something like that on, successfully on the chest, parts of it, and of course the forearm. The shield, on the other hand, that's another story. And as much as I want to do this, I'm dreading myself doing this because like the crest itself is easy. I would think easy to do. All I need to do, of course, is prime it, apply the gold coat, and then spray enamel black, and then using a very, very small tipped tool of some sort, or maybe a swab, try to rub off the crest with it being dabbed into enamel thinner, which I actually purchased. I had to get new enamel thinner in anticipation for something like this, to do a reverse wash. This will be a little tricky to do, especially around here and here, which I'll be removing, and around here as well. Not to mention this, and you guys pretty much understand what I'm talking about. So, yep, I am going to try that. Alright, so now here is a little bit more detail of course, the Neo Zeong Mobile Armor SD version. And I did not decide to commit with the other arm or the other shoulder armor that goes here, because I wanted to show you like what it would look like without it. And then of course this little feature here that you can actually remove, and you can put one of the bazookas, which I can pull out right now. Do like that. It's the other way. Of course, this thing doesn't go through all the way. The one thing, of course, that I'm a bit uncomfortable with, but I can understand its overall design, is the fact that it's not being held by a lot of pressure. I mean, it's not tight or anything like that, because there's a ball connector here, and then there's a connector here that goes onto this piece of plate armor, which you can remove and put on the Sinanju. This part here, the trim, goes all the way into the armor. I decided not to do that because I wanted to make sure I can paint this and then put it on. Seeing how this looks, I say to myself, you know what, it's going to be a waste of time for me to put a lot of masking tape on it and then paint it. So we'll just leave that, you know, it's going to be removed and it'll be painted separately. There's a lot of other parts that, because I was building this, I wanted to make sure which one needs to be painted together and I don't have to waste my time, or which one can be painted separate, and, you know, it'll be a lot easier for me. I mean, there's a lot of parts for this kit. It's almost like me building a high grade and painting a high grade. But I'm trying to see how I'm going to plan this out. Now, there are parts that needs to be glued. For example, the fuel tanks. I'm gluing them because once they dry, I want to sand down the nubs that's there. I've already sanded off the nubs that's on the back skirt. This, on the other hand, the actual shoulder armor itself, when I was looking at it, I was saying to myself, is this all one continuous part? But it is part of the trim. Nevertheless, I'm going to glue them, sand them down. The only part that's probably needs to be masked off would be, of course, the part that represents the thrusters under it. So this one will probably be painted off separately. I can remove this part and then this part behind this and paint that separately. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. There's a lot of things that I need to review a little bit more before I can commit to it. But everything else should be easy for me to start painting. So, let us begin.